Hello people, I hope you're all doing well. You know, sometimes an issue is raised that sparks a lot of controversy. Actually, all the time issues are raised that spark controversy. But and once in a while, I was on Facebook earlier, and one of my friends had posted something, and it got me really thinking, because it was one of those things that usually people just pass a lot of stuff by, but I had to comment on it because it said something to the effect of North Korea, I think a death penalty for people who cross their borders, and Afghanistan you get hard labor, prison camp for crossing their border, but in America we give you food stamps and clothing and shelter, and then and it said no wonder our country's broke. And I couldn't help, it pissed me off. I wasn't pissed at the guy who posted it or any of the people who were responding to it. I was just pissed at the idea that that's what we've been convinced to believe, that immigration is really causing a problem in our finance of our country. When it's not. We know it's not. Immigration does have a small burden on the finances, and if our country was functioning properly the way it should financially, then it would probably have a large burden on our country. But with all the trillions that are going out to overseas and offshore accounts and overseas labor and to the prison industry and the military complex, it's really a drop in the hat. I mean, it means nothing. It's a small amount. And I kind of come to the conclusion that what it means is that Americans say, well, in the very least, it's going to change the way that we live, and we will have to sacrifice some of our lifestyle in order to accommodate for other people coming in. And I figured that's where we draw the line. That's where the big difference is between people who support immigration and people who don't. I don't care if people come into this country and take their share, because what it means to me is it means that there's something here that we have more of than other people. If there wasn't more to take, then people wouldn't be coming to take it. And folks will argue that our forefathers had earned these things, or that we should be entitled to something just because we were born here. And I started really coming to the realization that that's what it comes down to as Americans. We think that since we were born here, we're entitled more to the rights here than someone who wasn't born here. And that's simply not true. The things that we have, the things that we do, are everyone's. The world was never meant to be commercialized and industrialized. We were never meant to have our rights subsidized as well as our food. There's some basic needs in life that should be certain commodities that should not be harnessed and controlled. And if people want to advance technology and charge more for an iPhone, that's their choice. You don't have to buy an iPhone. But if you're going to raise the price of corn and the price of land so people can't eat and farm and live, well then that's when issues become, a problem. In other countries, people are being raped from their land by their own governments, and a lot of them just want to move here to get away from that, the horrible, crap that they face in their own country, and then they come here only to be bashed by us because we feel they're taking more than their share. But when you look around at the way that, let's take the Mexicans, say in California, the way they're living, no, they're not living in mansions, my friends. They are living in very menial housing, and they make just enough to get by, and they send a lot home to their families, but their families aren't rich by any means. These people aren't taking advantage to get more than anyone else. In fact, they still have less. And if it weren't for many of these immigrants, the American way of life might not be possible. Some of the smaller organic farmers might need cheaper labor in order to make their food affordable to compete with larger companies, say like Monsanto. So all I'm saying is that there are two sides to every coin, and there are a lot of big issues with immigration. But I think it's really just a misconception, and people aren't aware that when one side has more, then that's out of balance. It doesn't matter what our forefathers intended. That shit's over. Nationalism is over. It's great to love your country, but don't love it for its borders. Love it for the country, the actual country. When I say country, I love my country. I mean, I love the land that I live on. I love the area. I don't love the borders and the flag. It's great that people, stood for something in the past, but nowadays we're starting to see the folly in our ways of believing that nations should keep one another out, because that's not what it's meant to be. We're closer than we've ever been, and our technology is bringing us closer to each other than we will maybe ever be again. And I think that people need to start embracing one another and realize that if someone's coming here to take something, it just means that they don't have enough where they're at, because people who are happy seldom seek more. Let's just accept immigration for what it is and let things balance themselves out, because there are bigger issues to worry about. It may cost a little bit in the long run out of everyone's pocket, but that's okay, because you're bettering the lives of some other people who would otherwise have a horrible life. And just because they're brown doesn't mean that they're any less of a person than anyone else. So, much love to everyone. Namaste to every culture, every creed, every race and religion. I mean, we need to just tolerate everyone and let these walls just kind of come down, because it's time. It's really time for us to grow up as a society. Much love.